Okay, everyone can hear me? Okay, great. For those that don't know me, my name is Evan. I'm Andrew's younger brother of 3 years. First, I'd like to say how honored I am to be here speaking as his best man. When Andrew asked me a few months ago, I was honored and I still am. I'm so happy that Andrew found Jessica, who's such an amazing, driven, gorgeous bride, as you can see here tonight. And I also wanted to thank both sets of parents. I wanted to thank my parents, and I wanted to thank Mr. and Mrs. Koo for this the wonderful ceremony we had today, and the wonderful reception we're currently having, and the open bar. And finally, thank you to everyone that came, whether you are from Oahu or from Hawaii, or if you came from the mainland, especially those that came from the mainland. I know it's not a cheap flight to Hawaii in the wintertime, and I know it's not a short flight. I know some of you are only here for the weekend, so I know we all really appreciate it. So when Andrew asked me to be his best man a few months ago, I have to say, quite frankly, I was a little surprised. Growing up, we couldn't have been more different. And I think everyone at this point knows that because every speech has kind of alluded to that. We always fought, and as the younger brother, I always lost, until I started wrestling. And then magically we started getting along. We were literally different in every way. So as you've heard, he's really the math, engineering, analytical guy. So an example of that would be when he decided to take the GMAT, he just casually decided to take it. He casually got an amazing score. And I got the same score, but I had to take it 3 times with a private tutor. Good thing I'm a loud person. The exact opposite of Andrew. That actually leads in quite well. So growing up, as you heard, he was a really calm and quiet person. And I was loud, always getting into trouble. When Andrew did get into trouble, you could guarantee that I wasn't far away, and it was definitely my fault. And Andrew, I would like to say thank you, because as my mom always, or as our mom always tells us, if you had acted the way that I did, you would have been an only child. So thank you. I really, really appreciate that. And then Andrew has always been the easiest eater. I was picky, and even things like peas and carrots, if they were touching, I would pretend to gag on them because I didn't want to eat them. You can ask my dad. But Andrew would eat anything, which is good because the only 3 things our dad ever fed us were fish sticks, spaghetti, and crackling oat bran. Emphasis on the crackling oat bran. And that really fits in perfectly. Still gone. And it fits in perfectly because, as for those that don't know, Jessica is an elite Yelper in San Francisco, which is pretty much the most prestigious place you could be an elite Yelper. So she picks the restaurant, she picks the menu, and then my brother eats whatever comes in front of him. But one point that I've always taken a point of pride in is that I've always been a better dresser than Andrew. So for those that knew Andrew growing up, you can attest that in general, it looked like someone, for his haircut, it looked like someone took a ramen bowl, turned it upside down on his head, and then just kind of cut around that. You have the same haircut. We'll get there. And I'm pretty sure he didn't know how to fold because he would take his laundry out and just pile it in the laundry bin, and that's where he would pull his clothes out. So he'd have these like draping t-shirts that were wrinkled and didn't really fit him well. But over the past 27 years, it's really amazing how similar we've become. We both went to the same school. We both went to WashU for college. He told me not to go because I would hate it, and in true fashion, I went and I loved it. We both got our MBA. We both somehow are now working in retail consulting. Next year, we're both going to be living in the same city when I move to San Francisco.
Yeah. Woo!
LA's still better. We're the same height. We used to weigh the same until he got really into CrossFit. So I'm really counting on everyone here to make sure whenever you see him, make sure he's eating a lot, make sure he's drinking a lot. So I'm really counting on this weekend to close that gap. And then finally, most importantly, we just started to get along. As we got older, we just started to get along. We confide in each other now, whether it's about life or career. It's been a relationship that's only grown stronger and stronger. And I know that's really a relief to my mom, who was always afraid that we'd continue to fight the way we did when we became adults. So you can rest easy. But getting back to how poorly you dressed. So, a few years ago, about 6 years ago probably, or 5.5, I was in San Francisco having dinner with my brother, and when he showed up at the restaurant, he was wearing a trendy button-down t-shirt, or trendy button-down shirt, nice jeans, and nice shoes. And for those of you that knew Andrew growing up, once again, you know he would never get caught dead wearing anything like that. So I knew something was up. It turned out, I probed a little bit, it turned out he had met this amazing girl named Jessica. And I didn't know anything else about her at the time, but I did know she had somehow managed the impossible. She managed to get my brother to spend money on clothing and a haircut. And the more I got to know her from going on trips together or seeing them in San Francisco or Los Angeles, the more I realized how perfect they were for each other and how similar their interests were. They both loved to travel, they loved going snowboarding, they both loved drinking wine. Jessica, as I mentioned before, loves cooking, and Andrew still loves eating. Perfect match. And they've traveled all over the world together. Places as close to Napa, Japan to go snowboarding, that was mentioned in another speech, Zion National Park, scuba diving, and really, I think their honeymoon really sums it up. Instead of going to an exotic beach location, not Hawaii, and just sitting on a beach, they're going to Patagonia and Buenos Aires. Woo! They actually traveled so much that one year, Andrew somehow managed to use his extremely generous 25 days of vacation before the holidays. So instead of coming home and having a nice warm Christmas in Hawaii, he had to spend it working in San Francisco. And so now about 5.5, 6 years later, we're here celebrating their marriage, and I couldn't be happier. Andrew, I'm so happy and I'm so proud of you. Jessica, welcome to the family. I couldn't ask for a better sister-in-law. And here's to you guys, to an incredible, happy, and meaningful journey through life together.